Happy Halloween, and welcome back to another episode of Screening Room. In honor of the holiday, we'll be reviewing some of our favorite and scariest movies that have come out since last Halloween. Stay tuned, a very spooky Screening Room is coming up next. Hi, and welcome to Screening Room. I'm Ann Drews.
I'm Ryan Hennessy.
And I'm Jacqueline Snow. I'll be talking about the 2017's version of It. Based off of Stephen King's book he wrote in 1986, It follows the lives of 7 children during a time where terror strikes the town of Derry, Maine. Georgie Denbrough, played by Jackson Scott, goes missing after playing outside with one of his paper boats one evening. There's some suspicion to his case, but a year passes by without anyone really doing anything. Bill Denbrough, played by Jaden Lieberer, is still hung up on his missing brother the next summer and recruits 6 of his pals to look into things. More children go missing, and the group of kids start to figure out gruesome details about their once beloved town, along with being terrorized by the clown Pennywise, played by Bill Skarsgård. This film is filled with horror, tension, comedy, and even a little bit of romance. Let's take a look at the trailer.
When you're a kid, you think the universe revolves around you. You think that you'll always be protected and cared for.
Yeah.
Then, one day, you realize that's not true. Because when you're alone as a kid, the monsters see you as weaker. You don't even know they're getting closer. Till it's too late. Here. Take it.
My grandfather thinks this town is cursed. That all the bad things that happen in this town are because of one thing. An evil thing.
Bill, if you'll come with me, you'll float too.
Georgie. I saw something.
The clown. Yeah, I saw him too. You'll float too.
What happens when another Georgie goes missing? Or one of us? Are you just gonna pretend it isn't happening like everyone else in this town? If we stick together, we win.
I was really impressed by this movie. I read the book over a year ago, and it was very different, but I really liked the take that they had on it. It was a little bit different, but I really enjoyed it. What did you guys think?
I mean, I thought it was entertaining. I enjoyed it. I wasn't super impressed by the plot. I thought it was kind of cliche in a lot of parts, but what did you think?
I'm not a huge fan of like the traditional horror movies with the jump scares and all that, which this movie strayed a little bit away from it. I liked certain aspects of it, how they tried to add like humor into some parts. Overall, I don't think it deserved the hype it got, but it was a pretty good movie.
It's interesting compared to the short film, the 2-part miniseries that they had during the 90s. Is that when they came out? 1990. Mm-hmm. It was different because in that, and based off of the book, it focused on the adult version of the kids, and it was flashbacks. And so in this 2017 version, it's current day. So I thought that that was interesting.
That's what the book did?
Yeah, the book
focused-
was just flashbacks.
Okay.
and
was
the miniseries.
Like the time that they were kids, was it relatively the same story?
A little bit, but it was more so the adults telling how they lived back then.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did you like it better with the kids as the main part
Yeah,
of the story?
yep. I
Okay.
definitely like this better, just because it got a little bit confusing because there were so many characters involved.
That makes
So,
sense.
I did like the vast like differences in characteristics between the characters. You had the ones that wanted to go charging into like these scary situations, and you had ones being like the more sensical, like let's stop. And then you had the kid's name who always threw in a joke at the end of every sentence, and
Yeah.
it was a good variation.
Yeah, I really enjoyed the humor. They had a good balance of, like I said, comedy, tension, and then the little romance. And it, I thought was
Yeah.
really cute.
One thing I liked is like you don't see many horror movies that are also like an adventure movie. So this movie like it logged their adventure through like their town and figuring out what's happening, and you don't see many horror movies where they're like together in a group going on an adventure basically. So
And
I
there's
really
definitely
liked
going to
that.
be another movie after this, so I'm excited to see how they're going to play out the clown.
Because spoiler alert, he did like shrivel up at the end. I thought that was him being done for.
No,
You can't have a sequel if he's just done.
Yeah.
no, and he didn't die. He just kind of like crumpled up, and then he went back down the well. So he didn't die. He's fine. He just took a little.
To me,
He's fine.
to me
just
that
happy
like,
Yeah.
I don't know. To me, I thought that is a clear representation of him being gone forever. I guess they do say like, oh, if he ever comes back, we'll be back for it. But like,
Yeah. Another spoiler alert. I don't know about you guys, but I was confused about when the little kids were all floating in the sewer.
Yeah, I did.
I
Find
thought
a
that
little
they
bit
were gonna
confusing.
come back down and be okay.
yeah, that's what I thought too. But they did say like, oh, the reason you didn't kill the girl is because she wasn't afraid. So,
Yeah.
like,
Right.
Well,
They did emphasize like why she was the only
Yeah.
one that like was kept alive.
Definitely.
Well, and part of it too was like they they had to like come to terms, you know, with the death of Georgie when they found the coat and everything. So it just those were the kids, obviously that didn't make it, but
Yeah.
That's part of what I was like, are parents just like not involved? Are adults just not involved?
They just
like,
didn't
they
care.
just found everybody. And
Yeah. And also, when Georgie originally goes missing, it's just interesting to me is how nobody cared. Like, nobody initially did anything.
Especially when they later revealed that this happens all the time. I was like, they'd be looking for like a serial kidnapper or something like that.
Definitely.
just got used to it apparently.
yeah.
Weird thing to
Oh,
do,
just another
but
child kidnapping, whatever.
same old.
Yeah.
All right, well, we're going to take a quick break and take a look at some adorable perfect pets.
Hey there, I'm Sienna. I'm an energetic girl who needs a lot of exercise. I'd love to go for a run with you.
Hi, I'm Violet. I'm a sweet, gentle 11-year-old girl who's still young at heart. I only have 3 legs, but my heart is twice the normal size.
Well, hey there, I'm Lance. I'm one little guy who just loves exploring, but I'd really love to explore my new forever home.
Hello, I'm Mystic. I'm a little shy at first, but when I warm up, I love to play, and I'm looking for my forever owner.
To find out more about adoption for these pets or others, contact the Cooley Region Humane Society at 781-4014.
Once again, the number for the Cooley Region Humane Society is 781-4014. Next, we're going to be talking about Split. Split follows the horrifying journey of 3 high school girls, Claire and Marcia, who are popular and chatty, and Casey, who is reserved and an outcast. After a typical birthday party at the mall, the day takes a sharp turn for the worse as the girls get into Claire's father's car only to be sedated and abducted by a man named Kevin, who takes them to an indistinct underground bunker. At first, the girls hope to escape by breaking through the drywall or finding some hidden door in the room, but it soon becomes apparent that their captor isn't an ordinary man. He suffers from dissociative identity disorder, also known as multiple personality disorder, and his body is home to 23 distinct personas. We meet many of these personalities through encounters with the girls and with Kevin's therapist, finding out that they range from a British woman to a pedophilic maintenance worker to a 9-year-old boy and many others. Casey, the cleverest of the 3 captives, realizes that in order to escape, they must engage with Kevin's multiple identities to find a way out before the 24th and most dangerous identity emerges. Let's take a look at the trailer.
Hey, pardon me, sir. I think you have the wrong car. What are we doing here? What the hell is going on?
I was sent to get you for a reason.
There's a flower on the pillows, a flower in the bathroom. Like, we're important.
The only chance we have is if all 3 of us go crazy on this guy.
Who is that? Maybe she can help us.
Don't worry. He's not allowed to touch you. He knows what you're here for. He listens to me. My name's Hedwig.
How old are you?
9.
I've never seen a case like this before. 23 identities live in Kevin's body.
Who are you? Help me get out of here, Hedwig.
You trying to trick me? I'll tell on you. Aren't you the clever one?
An individual with multiple personalities can change their body chemistry with their thoughts.
Someone's coming for you.
Who's coming?
The beast.
There's a man here. He abducted us and he's going to kill me. We're meant for something. Something horrible.
The world will understand now. The beast is real.
He's done awful things to people, and he'll do awful things to you.
Overall, I thought this film was really entertaining. It kept me engaged the whole time. It was really thrilling, but I also definitely have some issues with it. So I want to open it up to all of you guys. I think it's definitely really problematic that this disorder, which is like a clinically recognized disorder, is like demonized the way it is. And I think that's the biggest criticism like everyone kind of has for this movie. What did you guys think about that?
I remember hearing a lot about like the mental illness and how it's portrayed in this movie. So after I watched it, I did look up like how accurately it is portrayed. And in the movie, he has I think 24 personality disorders. They said the average person has like 2 or 3.
Really?
In there. And a big part of the movie, probably like the most important part of the illness, is the fact that he physiologically changes and is like, at one point he's able to take gunshots because he is a different personality. And that's where the movie kind of lost me a bit.
Accurate.
Yeah.
Because it was kind of like, come on.
Yeah. Yeah.
I feel like it's kind of an easy way to make a scary movie because it's like it's easy to capitalize on something that people don't really understand, but that's not fair to people who go through it. So
Yeah, definitely.
but
I was talking before about how this movie really reminds me of Shutter Island. I know, Jacqueline, you said you've seen
Yes.
it. In Shutter Island, it's also a movie that surrounds mental illness and how actually the main character has a mental illness and he doesn't find out that he's trapped on this island and he is the one with the mental illness until the very end. So
What mental illness does he have in that movie?
I think it's like he has some sort of like PTSD.
Yeah. Okay.
So he like thinks he's a detective when in reality he's not. it really, like, there were a lot of similarities between those two movies, and I love Shutter Island, so I did like this movie other than the unrealistic factors of, like, the physical changes through the
I loved the movie until the last maybe 20 minutes. I think that's when it started to get a little crazy and overly dramatic.
Yeah,
more unbelievable.
For sure. And I mean, without like spoiling the ending, it's totally like a setup for a sequel, and I was a little bit disappointed in that. I kind of wanted more like closure of this story. I guess that's just not where they went with it. But
I thought there was going to be a lot more, you know, ending to the main character. He kind of just vanishes at the end.
Right. And there's definitely going to be another movie.
And I know
interesting.
we were talking about how Unbreakable is it? How it
it's
connects
like the
to
prequel,
Unbreakable.
kind of.
Yeah, I've never seen the movie, but
have you?
It was an interesting little.
A long time ago, but yeah.
It was an interesting little M. Night Shyamalan plot twist that he has to add into every one of his movies.
Which is kind of, I guess, is cool that he that's his signature thing, so you can like expect it. But
yeah, and like me, I didn't know what Unbreakable was, so that's kind of interesting for me to maybe look up after the movie. Oh, hey, there's like another movie coming.
It definitely did get me interested to maybe like go watch that movie now.
Yeah.
So
that'd be cool.
Yeah. I think any kind of movies about mental health and different things like this, it's just like such a fine line of making sure you're doing it respectfully and also in a way that's entertaining, which I feel like this movie kind of didn't walk that line very well.
How do you think it was portrayed with the woman that was his psychiatrist? Or,
I liked her character, actually.
I did too. She seemed like just a sweet old lady.
A little naive, but I think that was the point.
Yeah.
So we are going to be moving along to our last movie, but first we're going to get a look at Com Club.
Last but not least, I will be discussing the film Get Out. The movie has a scene before the credits. The scene starts with a man walking in a suburban neighborhood at night. The man is a black man, although at the time this seems like an irrelevant fact. The scene is meant to seem eerie as most scenes in suspense movies are. As the man walks down the street, a car pulls up next to him and parks. The man walking decides to turn around and walk in the other direction. But when he does, the camera pans back to the car, and the door is open, and moments later, a masked person incapacitates the man walking and puts him in the trunk of the car. The scene confused the viewer, and honestly, I forgot about the scene after almost immediately, as it kind of just moves on. But it does set the pace for the rest of the movie and the setting. That follows only after watching the movie. Only after watching the entire movie will that scene make sense. That foreshadowing and ominous style is one of the many reasons this film was such a success, both critically and with audiences. Let's check out the trailer for Get Out.
You got your toothbrush?
Check.
Do you have your deodorant?
Check.
Do you have your cozy clothes?
Got that.
What?
Do they know I'm black?
Should they?
You might wanna,
Mom and Dad, my black boyfriend will be coming up this weekend. I just don't want you to be shocked that he's a black man.
I ain't never seen you like this before, bruh. Meeting families, taking road trips. Don't come back all bougie, man. Come back, get your damn pants up to your damn stomach.
So you guys coming up from the city?
Yeah, we're just heading up for the weekend.
Can I see your license, please?
He wasn't driving.
I didn't ask who was driving. I asked to see his ID.
Call me Dean if you're hungry, my man.
So how long has this been going on, this thing? We hired Georgina and Walter to help care for my parents. When they died, I couldn't bear to let them go.
Do you smoke in front of my daughter?
I'm gonna quit. She'd take care of that for you.
How?
Hypnosis. I'm good, actually.
You ready for this?
How bad can it be?
So look, I go do my research. Apparently, a whole bunch of brothers been missing in this suburb.
But it's cool.
Bro, how you not scared of this, man?
Didn't see no brother around here.
Chris was just telling me how he felt much more comfortable with my being here. Get out.
Sorry, man.
Get out! Yo!
Rose, we gotta go.
Is everything okay?
Rose, the keys. Just get the keys.
I don't know where they are.
Rose?
Sink into the floor.
Wait.
Sink.
Mine is a terrible thing to waste. Terrible thing to waste.
If there's too many white people, I get nervous.
Mine is a terrible thing to waste.
Get Out is a movie that is different from traditional horror movies in my opinion, and that is the reason it had so much success and critical success, because it was a horror movie that did not rely on jump scares and demons like many horror movies do today. It was built on a unique concept that is not seen in other movies and keeps you curious throughout the entire film as well. It also offers some comedy aspect with side character Rod, who a lot of people like. And in my opinion, this is my favorite movie of the three that we've reviewed today. From someone who's not a particular fan of scary movies, this movie deserved all the hype it got. So what do you guys think about the movie Get Out?
I totally agree with you as far as like the jump scares and it just being different. I think it's so cool that like it's just so creepy that you're like on your edge. So then like when the jump scares do come, they're like even more effective and just like the whole thing. I thought it was an awesome movie.
I hated it. This movie it gave me this really uncomfortable feeling when I was watching it. And I don't know, the acting was great. And the woman who plays, what's the main character's name?
In the movie?
The female in the movie, she was in a show that I watched called Girls, and it was a comedy. So the whole time I just kept thinking of that movie. And I just had a really uncomfortable feeling in my stomach during it. So I did not enjoy this movie.
Speaking of the actors and actresses, I thought they all did very well, even though none of them were that famous of actors or actresses. They all, but I think they performed very well for their roles.
Yeah.
Well, and as far as it making you feel uncomfortable, I think that is kind of the point, because we're looking at like racial issues and like this really like scary thing that's in a way sort of like realistic to, I think, like the experience of a person of color in this kind of situation. So I don't know if maybe that was kind of what you were feeling.
I think that's what it is. Yeah,
what
because it was
should have
definitely a different feeling than I've experienced with movies before. That probably is about right.
So then maybe this movie was successful.
Yeah,
that's what I think.
Yeah, like the acting was great. The storyline was definitely interesting. It was intriguing. It just, definitely just weird.
One thing I loved was, as I talked about that opening scene, how I was sitting there for like an hour and a half thinking like how like that makes no sense, and it is until the very end that you think back to it and it's like, oh, that makes sense now. Because I was saying that took me a while. I was just like, why was that there? I don't understand.
Yeah, and I think I've seen 2 other movies that also do that, and that's an interesting take. And I like how it keeps you focused to the movie because you're still trying to figure out the beginning part.
Yeah, I agree. I honestly kind of like forgot that scene even happened for a while, but then once you think back to it, it's like, oh, that's so creative. There's like a lot of really cool foreshadowing in this movie.
Which I thought was interesting because I know we talked about this. It was Jordan Peele's first movie he directed, it was also like his first like non-comedy thing he did. So as far as your first movie you direct, it's pretty huge success.
Especially coming from a comedian. Like, this
Yeah.
is completely unrelated to things he's done in the past.
I know when I first heard about this, I wanted to go see it because I'm a huge fan of like Key and Peele and how all of his comedy sketches he does. So I was gonna go see it for that, and it's just nothing like that. It's completely different.
Yeah, which kind of leads us to our next point. This movie is really unique. We couldn't think of any movies that were really super related, but we did go through a bunch of other scary movies that we like. Do you guys want to go through some of your favorites?
Well, we kind of talked about Cabin in the Woods, which was related to, I guess, more so It. But,
kind of.
But it was...
It's kind of just a really bad movie.
But it was bad, yeah. So that's a bad, I guess, related horror movie. Whereas, I don't know, it just kind of goes all over at the end. It starts off with kind of a plot, and then it just plummets into something
like
that's
falls
just,
off the rails.
Yeah.
I've never seen it. So.
Well, don't see
Yeah,
it.
maybe don't watch it. But we did talk about Shutter Island and Psycho, which are other kind of like psychological, like multiple personality movies, kind of like Split. We also talked about 10 Cloverfield
Yeah, I
Lane.
talked about 10 Cloverfield Lane. It's a lot like Split too, because in that movie, the main character is held prisoner, or at least she thinks she's held prisoner in a world that this guy is holding her captive and saying that there's aliens up above. When she's released, she thinks that it's all a lie, but in reality, there actually are aliens taking over the world. So I thought that was almost.
Ending.
I always thought it was very similar to Split.
Definitely.
Yeah. Well, moving right along, we do want to talk about some new movies that are coming up in theaters.
So in theaters we have Thor Ragnarok, Jigsaw, which I will not be seeing, Geostorm, The Foreigner, and Suburbicon.
I didn't know Thor was coming out. That would be interesting.
Coming out soon on DVD is The Midwife, Girls Trip, Spider-Man Homecoming, The Emoji Movie, I don't think I'll be watching that, and Annabelle Creation.
I've heard the Emoji Movie is one of the worst movies. And at the Riv, there's American Assassin, American Made, Leap, Dunkirk, and Despicable Me 3.
I want to see Dunkirk, but also I don't think I'm going to be able to watch it without a box of tissues by me, because it seems just so emotionally
I want to go see Despicable Me 3. I've seen the first two. But
no, not interested in seeing that. I stopped after the second one.
I kind of stopped after the first one.
Yeah. They're cute, but, I mean...
The Minions annoy me. I don't like it.
Yeah, I guess the Minion movie didn't get too good of reviews. I never saw that, but...
I didn't watch it. Not interested.
But it's been a good year for scary movies, I think.
I think so, too.
I mean, I know we didn't all love all of these movies, but...
I think these were, like, the most anticipated and highest, like, rated movies of this year, as far as horror movies go.
I'm interested to see how Jigsaw does, because that is, like, the 8th Saw movie, I think. And I don't know, I'm just kind of interested to see
Never
how...
seen any of the Saw movies.
They're also gross. They make me feel uncomfortable, too. But that's more so the gore side to it.
Yeah, none of these movies were really that gory.
No.
I think
That's
it was
too bad.
probably the worst for gore, and it wasn't even that
I
bad.
was going to say Get Out was the worst.
Really?
Wasn't there?
Kind of.
I don't know.
I thought
Kind
it
of
was
gross,
released.
but oh well.
All right. So
So thank you guys for watching today. I hope you enjoy your Halloween, and we'll see you next time.